I'm with Marcus Winslow, and we're here near Fairmount, Indiana, in probably one of the most recognized residences in Grant County. And Marcus, right here as a little boy, you grew up with James Dean?
Yeah, that's right. He came here to live with my folks when he was 9 years old, and he was here till he graduated from high school, and then came back on several visits after that.
How old are you when you first remember all the excitement around James?
He made The East of Eden. That was his first movie, and that was released in early 1955. And that's when he was first recognized in the movies. Prior to that, he was in several television shows, and we had a television, and he'd drop us a card or call or something and tell when he was going to be on. And of course those shows were all live at that time, but he did probably 25 television shows, and people would always call us and tell us if they seen him on there, and it was very interesting.
Yeah, I imagine as a little boy seeing him for the first time, I mean, the guy that was right in your house and see him on TV, it just had to be amazing.
It was, and to really see him on the big screen, that was really something. I'll never forget when we went to the Indiana Theater in Marion, and the manager there gave us a private showing of East of Eden before it was open to the public, and it was just hard to believe that that was him up there on the screen, and he just seemed so natural. It just seemed like him. Didn't really seem like he's acting.
Did your father keep him working? I mean, keep him busy out here on the farm?
Yeah, he helped a lot here on the farm. He'd bring kids out from Fairmount and help Dad bale hay, and he'd help Mom gather eggs, and he was a good worker.
What got you interested in old cars? Was it the whole James Dean thing, or did it just come natural to you?
No, I was interested in cars when I was real young. And I know last time Jimmy was home, he bought some car magazines and things, and I've still got some of them. But I always liked sports cars, and I always liked antique cars. And of course, at that time, a car like this wasn't an antique. It was a brand new car. But as I've grown older, I like the cars from the 50s an awful lot, all the way from 49, 50 up to 1959. And that's what I've tried to collect.
Well, tell us about this car. This is a 57 Ford Skyliner?
That's right. Ford built the Skyliners 3 years, 57, 58, and 59. And this car originally came from a gentleman in Fairmount. His name was Bob Everts. And my grandfather Dean had a farm that joined right up to Mr. Everts's. And I can remember this car when it was new. And they quit driving it in 1966, and it's just sat in a garage or in a barn ever since then. He'd get it out occasionally and start it, but it wasn't plated or anything. And I approached him several times on buying it, and he was going to fix it up, and finally he just decided to sell it, and I bought it in 1979, and it was 1990 before we finally got it restored. And I take it around to some of the car shows in the area.
So you're the second owner?
I'm the second owner, that's right. Yeah, it was originally all white with green interior, and we changed it to red and white interior with a red and white exterior.
Do you have the paperwork? Was it purchased right here in Fairmount?
No, it was purchased in Hartford City. He bought it late in 57. Matter of fact, the 58s had already came out, and he decided he liked the looks of the 57s better, and of course by that time 57 was hard to find, and he found this at a Ford dealer in Hartford City, Indiana, and that's where he purchased it. Now the salesman that sold it to him was from Fairmount.
Marcus, you know, when it's coming down the road it looks like just a regular Fairlane, but it has to be some differences in this car for the mechanism and everything, for the convertible?
Right, there's a lot of differences in the car, Ray. From the front doors back, everything's different. The windshield and the front clip is the same as a regular Ford Fairlane, but the doors are unique to retractable, and the rear quarter panels, the top of course, the deck lid, It's even got a different back bumper from a regular Ford Fairlane.
The car is actually longer?
Right, the car's 3 inches longer than a standard Fairlane.
Now, did all 3 years have the hardtop convertible?
Right, all 3 years were hardtop convertibles. Ford called them Skyliners, but most people just refer to them as retractables because the top retracts into the trunk and makes it a convertible.
Can you show us how this operates?
Sure, be glad to. The top on this car retracts just like a regular convertible. It's got the same button you pull or push to raise the top or to put the top back in the top position. And first thing that happens is the deck lid raises. And then after the deck lid reaches its full open position, it has a little wing that flips up. And then once that comes clear up into its position, then the 4 screws that hold the top down start backing out. And once those 4 screws back out, then another motor kicks in and pulls the top into the trunk. And then the trunk lid comes down and makes it a convertible. And of course, it's just the opposite sequence when you put the top back up again.
Now, is that all with one motor?
No, there's 7 motors on this. I think there's 10 solenoids and 10 switches. I believe there's 7 circuit breakers and about 610 feet of wiring.
Now, Ford went to a 12-volt electrical system by this time, right?
Right. Ford went to 12-volt in 1956, and it's hard on the electrical system. You can run a battery down pretty quick if you don't have the engine running.
You can't put any suitcases in the trunk.
There's some room in the trunk. Now, if you leave the top up, it's got a huge trunk. But if you want to put the top in the trunk and make it a convertible, it has what they call a luggage tub. And all your suitcases has to fit inside that tub. If they're standing up higher than the tub, the top will hit it when it comes down. So you have to be careful what you put in there.
So to get back in there, you got to take the top about halfway up or something?
Right. Well, you just have to raise the deck lid up, and then you can reach into the trunk. And matter of fact, the spare tire is underneath the luggage tub. And if you have to get a spare tire out, you have to take the luggage tub out, then you have to reach in and flip the spare tire up. And so it's not an easy job to get the spare out.
Well, it must be an amazing wiring diagram to this car.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty complicated.
So the way we're looking at this car right now is, this is a way it looked right off the showroom floor.
Right. It does have Ford factory fender skirts on it. I mean, those were the skirts that a Ford dealer would sell. But other than that, it's just the way it would have been unloaded off the truck.
Well, it sure is a gorgeous car, and you say this restoration, it was restored right here in Fairmount.
Yeah, it was restored at most paint and restoration in Fairmount. Terry's done a lot of work for me, and he does real good work. And I started tearing it apart, and we pulled the engine and transmission out of it and completely gutted the interior out of it. And Terry did the body work on it, and then we put it back together again. And it's been, well, 1990 is when we did it, and it still looks good.
So it looks brand new.
He did a good job.